gentlemen, the Texas Association of Private Parochial Schools and the West Independent School District welcome you to Brogan Arena for TAP State Championship Basketball 2020. This afternoon's game is for the Boys Conference 5A Championship and features the Wildcats of Westbury Christian School and the Eagles of Legacy Christian Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please stand for invocation. It'll be given this afternoon by Mr. Monty Page. He is a parent from Legacy Christian Academy.
If you can bow with me. Lord, we come together. We call out to you because you give us the privilege of living in a country where we can do this. Lord, we have a joy for what we see as fans, fellowship, but may we never lose sight of the miracle of your love for us. That these young men would realize the gifts are not theirs, they are stewards. You entrusted these gifts to them. May they play well, may they be stewards of what you entrusted to them. May they glorify you to play to the best of their ability. May you watch over them, protect them, keep them safe, uninjured. Lord, I pray for the fans, for the refs, that you would place upon our hearts an understanding. All of this is an eye blink in relation to eternity and the miracle that you loved us so much on the worst of our days that you laid down your life for us. We praise you for that. We thank you for that. And we are humbled by it. In Christ's name, amen.
Please remain standing as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
The TAPS 5A championship game. The number 1 Westbury Christian Wildcats, 26-9 on the year. And the number 2 Legacy Christian Eagles at 30-6 on the season, squaring off for a championship today. From West High School in West Texas, Mike Leslie and Earl Garland here with you for this TAPS TV presentation. Between two teams that have earned their way to this title game via comfortable wins in the semifinals. Westbury Christians certainly more comfortable than Legacy Christians, Earl. But both of these teams ready to duke it out this afternoon.
Yeah, Westbury is very, very athletic, very talented. But what you'll find from Legacy is they're athletic as well and very scrappy. They just hustle, hustle, hustle. This is going to be a fantastic game.
as our public address announcer, John Pritchett, introduces the starting lineups here at West High School. We'll do the same here on the broadcast. Westbury Christian, the Wildcats 26-9, led by their head coach Tyler Guidry, the number 1 seed out of District 7, beat Lutheran South Academy 82-45 in the semifinal round yesterday. Their starters, number 4, Christopher Felix, a junior guard. Number 5, Keelan Farouk, a senior guard. Number 10, Javier Francis, a junior forward and one of the best forwards in the country, ranked the number 24 forward in the nation, according to Rivals.com. Number 13, Joseph Cormier, a sophomore guard who sets the pace as the point guard. And number 25, Malachi Bowles, a sophomore forward. For number 2, Legacy Christian, the number 2 team in the state at 30-6 on the year. Their head coach, Cole Johnson, leading the number 2 seed out of District 1. They knocked off the number 1 seed out of their district, Grapevine Faith, 77-61 in the state semifinals yesterday. Their starters, number 2, Garrett Pelham, a senior guard forward. Number 12, Holden Griffith, a senior forward who will have the unenviable task of guarding Javier Francis today. Number 14, Aaron Terrian, a senior guard forward. Number 22, Ryan Klink, a senior guard. And their best player, number 30, a senior guard forward, Jonathan Alexon.
You notice all the starters for Legacy are seniors, and Westbury has a few sophomores in there in the starting lineup. So we'll see if senior experience makes any difference here.
This is a rematch of the 2017 TAPS 5A state championship game. A rematch in name only. These are two very different teams 3 years later, to be sure. The seniors on this roster for Legacy Christian were there, but they were freshmen. This year, two very different basketball teams, but that was an 80-50 Westbury win. In talking with both Tyler Guidry, the Westbury head coach, and Cole Johnson, the head coach from Legacy Christian, this is a much closer matchup than that was 3 years ago.
I would think so. I think the senior leadership that Legacy will receive is going to be helpful, keep them focused and calmer than maybe younger players who would be overwhelmed a little bit by Westbury's athleticism. That's not going to be the case for Legacy.
Legacy Christian really only runs about 6 deep. Jonathan Mosley, their 6th man, will see some time, but he's their only consistent reserve. You may see Matthew Brenneman, number 32, come out to have some size on the floor against the size of Westbury Christian. But by and large, the Eagles, a short bench, and they played a tiring game yesterday against Grapevine Faith. The final score of 77-61, not indicative, Earl, of how closely that game was played.
It was a much closer game than that, and I think their lack of depth may be the one Achilles heel they have. They have the senior leadership, but they lack depth because Westbury will bring several guys off the bench, and they really don't lose anything when those subs came in. One thing to note, yesterday Felix, number 4 here for Westbury, turned his ankle, and he looks to be okay, but he had a little struggle yesterday, and he took a good bit of time today warming that ankle up. So we'll watch that as the game unfolds.
And Westbury dealing with injuries coming into the game as well. Craig Berry goes by Braxton Berry, an ordinary starter in the place of Malachi Bowles, but hurt his ankle in practice prior to the state semifinals. Has not played this weekend, will not play today, according to Tyler Guidry. So injury concerns, maybe something to watch here for Westbury Christian as the opening tap corralled by the Wildcats, and quickly down the floor for the lay-in. Malachi Bowles with a quick start, and the Wildcats up 2.
And Westbury's going to do what they did yesterday, play man-to-man, try to trap the corners, and then rotate back very well to defense.
Ball knocked out of bounds on this side off the foot of Joseph Cormier.
You see those quick hands? That's going to be tough for Legacy to deal with, those quick hands, those deflections. Again, deflections lead to steals, very important part of the game.
Cole Johnson, the head coach from Legacy Christian, told me before the game we have to withstand the opening 2 minutes, as a 3 from the corner will go off the hands of Alexon.
That's a good start for Alexon because yesterday he had a rough shooting day from the 3-point range, so that's a good start for him. Now
Loose
scrum
ball
for
in
the
the paint
ball.
and a jump ball. Charles Rubia, our crew chief today, out there with Sean Mills and Michael Broomfield, our three-man officiating crew. Jump ball gives possession to Legacy Christian after the missed three-pointer from Joseph Cormier. Pressure. Legacy Christian able to pass over top of it. Ryan Klink, one of the senior leaders for this team. They call him their glue guy. Yesterday he was outstanding. 25 points in addition to guarding Grapevine Faith's best player all game. But now a steal here, but right back to Legacy. It bounces to Terrian. Down the lane, has it swatted away.
Number 10 with the block for Westbury, Francis. I'll tell you what, he's one of the top shot blockers in the country, showing his skill there.
He's the leading shot blocker in the state of Texas. But yes, one of the tops in the country as well. Near side for Klink. Cross court for Terrian. Nice pass into the post. And again, erased by Francis.
Just when you think you have a free shot in there, here comes Francis.
Tipped up and in. Holden Griffith.
Yeah,
a 5-2 start here for Legacy Christian.
Yeah, Westbury's going to have to get up there and cover that inbounds play a little better than that.
In the corner, Francis for three, misses long, and they'll look to run with it. Up ahead, over the head of Klink and out of bounds. A little too eager was Jonathan Alexon to create the break.
I like the fact that he saw his teammate down the floor, but maybe holding up on the pass would have been a better decision.
The Legacy Christian student section is large and fierce, and serenading Francis, with the air ball chant. Now a three on the way for Felix will go.
Felix had a great game yesterday. He's a very talented guard.
Legacy Christian trying to deal with this trapping press. They pass through it, and now numbers in the front court. Alexon for three, long. Klink battling for the rebound. Still loose. Francis has it.
That was a good battle for the rebound there.
Cormier down the lane, knocked away. If nothing else, they have withstood the opening couple minutes of this basketball game. Alexon, pump fake a three, now he'll shoot it, short. Nearly a steal, knocked out of bounds, and it will be Legacy Christian basketball as Garrett Pelham came across and knocked it away, and it ricochets off the hand of a Wildcat, and it's white ball.
And that's Legacy DNA right there. They're always flashing in the passing lanes. They're very aggressive, and it paid off for them right there.
Cole Johnson said to me earlier today, I don't know if they've had to play a four-quarter game all season long, talking about Westbury Christian as Griffith hits the jumper. He said if we can force them to do that, they'll show their underbelly at some point, and we have to capitalize. On the end line, turnover.
Well, they may be showing it already because they've made a few serious errors right here out of their possessions, lost possessions.
Somebody's got to flash to the basketball.
Yep, there it is.
Klink with pressure behind him. Baseball bounce pass, rather, and it's knocked away. The steal created by Bowles.
Yeah, that was the speed of Westbury caught him there.
Bowles down the lane. Can't hit, and now a foul on the rebound as Alexon grabbed it. Francis crashing into him, and a foul.
Yeah, foul troubles will hurt Westbury, but it'll hurt Westbury less than it'll hurt Legacy, because they can bring I forget the young man that comes in for number 10, Francis, but I'll tell you what, he's about as good as Francis when he comes in.
4.5 to play first quarter. Klink for three. Misses short. Good rotation on it, just not quite enough. And back the other way comes Westbury Christian. Francis, hook shot, rims off. And a foul on the rebound yet again. This time, it'll go against Justin Sebring
Aaron Terrion had a great box out there and was pushed in the back. Terrion had a great game yesterday. A lot of good drives and dishes to post for easy buckets, and I look for him to do some more of that today. He's a really nice player.
The pressure making things difficult for Legacy Christian, but they've been able to handle it so far. Now a foul on the floor as Terrion brought it up the floor.
Felix on the foul. Getting his hands into Arian there a little bit.
One thing is clear. The moment is not too big for Legacy Christian.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I don't think they've ever seen a moment that was too big. They're very disciplined and very confident.
But playing against a program like Westbury Christian that has won dozens of state championships, nearly dozens, able to handle it. And what a finish inside by Terrion, and they lead by 4. Nearly knocked away. Warriors corral. Devin Smith gives in the corner. Three-pointer falls, and Christopher Felix stomping his way up the floor. He's got 2 threes in the early going. Terrion lost it. Fight on the floor for it. Jump ball.
It'll be Westbury ball.
Yes, indeed.
You just got to
gives it to the Wildcats.
Yeah, you got to wonder watching the pace of this game if Legacy can succeed, because they're going to be tired here shortly. They're pushing the ball up with such aggression against the press. And I'm not saying it's bad that they're doing that, but they just don't have enough depth to just keep going like that at that pace. So kudos to Legacy for causing that.
As much as we've talked up Westbury Christian in their history, Legacy Christian is the defending state champion at this level. Beat Lutheran South a year ago. A travel on that side by Christopher Felix turns it back over.
And Legacy also won a state championship a couple years ago. Coach Johnson has done a great job building the basketball program there at Legacy.
In the corner. Now up top for Terrion. You see a lot of the starting 5 for Legacy Christian today. Down the lane, Terrion put it high off the glass, couldn't finish, had to evade the shot blocking presence and couldn't get it to go. Now a foul in transition, a block on Pelham.
That was a good try by Pelham. I don't think he was quite set, but those are those calls. Block charge can go either way. I mentioned yesterday in the broadcast that it'd be really nice for the officials if they put the half circle under the basket there for the block charge, because the block charge is the hardest call to make in basketball.
We've had some issues with the scoreboard
now we
here
have
at West High
fireworks
School.
again.
The scoreboard on either end, both of those have worked just fine. The officials will clear the floor for a moment as the scoreboard at the middle of the floor overhead, hanging overhead, is losing its mind right now.
That's right. It makes you wonder if there's lightning in the area. It's going nuts.
I think that they have got it under control now.
Yeah, I suggested after the first game that maybe we just use the 2 end clocks and not worry about the one in the. Most of us aren't used to those that play in our gyms. We don't have those over the center court, so we're okay.
I will say this: it's a nice feature from our perspective because I get to see who's got how many fouls, and there's a little more detail to it, which is useful information for the broadcast. But if it's going to interrupt like that, just cut it off.
Yeah.
First free throw misses for Felix.
These are key box outs now on the baseline for Legacy.
1 for 2 trip and a tie game. Felix has got 7 in the early going to lead the Wildcats. Terrion near side for Pelham. Into the lane. Floater goes.
Nice teardrop.
Back the other way come the Wildcats. Layup won't go. Rebound tipped on the baseline, and they corral it. And now a steal. Aaron Terrion pushes ahead, throws it away. Cormier with the steal. Up and down they go. Cormier lays it in.
That's a nice job by Cormier. I always used to tell my guys, if you can get the defender on your hip, keep on going, take it yourself, let your teammate rebound. That's exactly what Cormier did there, but his teammate didn't have to rebound it.
2 minutes to play, first quarter. Nice pass in the corner for Griffith. Can't hit the three. And a foul on the rebound will go against the Eagles.
I don't know how Mosley got that pass off to the corner. He was twisted all up in a knot. That was an amazing effort to get it out to the corner. Now I think he's hurt himself.
Went down to the floor momentarily, now back up and trying to walk it off.
I think they're taking a timeout, looks like.
The Legacy Christian fans, primarily a student section, serenading the Westbury Christian side saying, "Where are your fans?"
Yeah, well, that's a good question. In a state championship game, you kind of wonder why the gym isn't packed on both sides.
Head Coach Cole Johnson trying to utilize this timeout and keep his team focused. They've played very well through the first 6 minutes and 4 seconds to be tied up here with the number one team in the state, Westbury Christian.
I think both teams have equally turned the ball over, so you just got to keep doing what you're doing and knock the turnovers off, and things will be good for both teams. But the pace of this game is incredible.
A little hop from Devin Smith to bring it up the floor out of the timeout. It's 11-all here in the first. Smith, right wing. They leave him open. Sebren's going to fire the three and connect. Justin Sebren with the triple. And now it's out of bounds, last touched by Klink. And that is the first lead for Westbury Christian since 2-0.
I think Legacy's doing a good job getting the ball in bounds, and then that middle flash there by Klink was exactly what you need to do, but mishandled the ball.
Up top, knifing down the lane, kick in the corner for three for Francis. Beg your pardon, Cormier misses long. Trouble. They're able to pass over top of the trap. Trap back up top for Terry.
That was a really nice trap and recover by Westbury, not giving Legacy anything out of the trap. They're trying to trap everything now.
Underneath, open, layup won't go, tip in won't go. Another tip, and the defensive board ripped down by Francis. 43 to play first quarter. Up and down they go, and a steal here for Alexon. A breakneck pace here in the first quarter. Alexon, pump fake, swatted away. Francis met him at the top. Layup won't go in transition for Sebren. And with 20 to play, here comes Legacy Christian. Terrian knifing through. Corner three. Alexon ties the game.
Look at how fast Westbury comes back, though.
And a whistle. Foul on the floor, they will say. 8.2 to play as Felix came flying up the court.
Alexon hits the three, and before he can say hiccup, Westbury's back down the floor shooting a layup. That's amazing.
They say the foul comes before the shot attempt, though. Baseline inbound, 8.2 to play, first quarter of the 5A state championship here on TAPS TV. Wide open for three, and it goes for Devin Smith. Alexon with one, fires from half court, long, and a strong finish to the first quarter for Westbury Christian. The triple from Devin Smith gives him the lead, 17-14 after one. We'll be back on TAPS TV. Bagot West High School, the 5A state championship game between number 1 Westbury Christian and the number 2 Legacy Christian Eagles. Joined by 34-year high school head coach, 5-time state champion Earl Garland. I am merely Mike Leslie, here with you on TAPS TV.
Merely Mike. Yeah, Mike's the pro here. I'm just sitting along for the fun of it. And believe me, those championships came because of good kids, not because of me.
I'm sure you had a little something to do with it.
Well,
just as these two coaches have something to do with why they're here right now.
Probably so. Many times I was a psychologist more than a coach.
I think every coach is to a certain extent, aren't they? Nice look inside, but blocked from behind.
Great cut, great pass in, and there's Francis.
Francis and Keelan Farouk as well, both colliding and shutting that opportunity down. Inbound pass, tip in goes. Nice inbound play to Aaron Tarian. And now a lot of collision here, a lot of contact and no whistle. The miss, the putback won't go for Francis. Neither side happy with the officials early on here. Nearly thrown out of bounds. Nice save on the baseline by Pelham. Corner 3, short. They are letting them play a little bit here early on.
Well, that's close to over and back.
It was very close. Instead, Smith misses the 3 long. Tarian.
The three-pointer can help you, and the three-pointer can kill you. Right now, both teams are settling for the three-pointer. Last few times down the floor. Here we go. Look at this great execution there.
Nice look underneath, but
yes.
Holden Griffith couldn't finish it. Ball knocked out of bounds by Westbury Christian. It'll stay on this end.
Yeah, flashing the post and then dropping it down into the low block. That was really nice. Nicely done.
Another inbounds pass right over the top. Alexon couldn't finish it.
Got a lot of Westbury coaches behind us.
Down the lane.
Oh, my.
The putback won't go either. Felix had a chance. Farouk had a chance. No dice. Tarian. Airballs the layup. Gets his own rebound. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay here.
The way Legacy's running the floor on the break is typical Legacy. They just have never seen a shot blocker like Francis very often. So it changes the whole game.
Francis, again, the leading shot blocker in the state of Texas. A 3-star recruit, offers from Texas Tech, SMU, SFA, several other schools interested as well.
Mike, I think I read somewhere, I might be wrong, but I think I read somewhere where he's averaging 18 blocks a game.
That might be hyperbole.
Well,
back in front goes Legacy Christian
I saw
by
it in
one.
Black and white.
Alexon puts him back in front by a point, 18-17. Legacy Christian with a very impressive first 10 minutes of this basketball game. Down low, knocked away by Klink. It'll stay here.
Yeah, anytime the ball gets on that free throw line extended, Legacy's going to try to trap you there. That's a staple that they've run for a long time as well.
Baseline inbound, closer to the corner than you'd probably prefer as a coach. And as a result, they'll just throw it up top in the hands of Smith. Cross court, Felix.
Legacy's gone to their 2-3 zone.
Two and a half gone by, second quarter, as Westbury Christian slows it down a little bit. Baseline, in trouble, throws it inside.
Oh, what a move.
And a travel.
We called travel. What's the difference between that and the Euro step? I just have to say it. I don't understand how that's a travel and the Euro step isn't.
Javier Francis called for the travel. More pressure from Westbury Christian. Legacy able to pass through it. Alexon skips it up top for Pelham. Tarian dribbles away from the coming trap, into the lane, leaves it inside, layup won't go. Tarian with the offensive rebound, but it's ripped away. and then dribbled out of bounds. Good hustle from Devin Smith, but he couldn't corral it.
Good hustle. Again, Francis' presence there in the post is really bothering Legacy.
30-second timeout called by Tyler Guidry, the head coach of Westbury Christian. We talked about it off the top. Cole Johnson, the head coach from Legacy Christian, said he's not sure if Westbury Christian has had to play a four-quarter game in a while. They blow a lot of teams out. Yep. They're comfortable by midway through the third quarter, sometimes much earlier than that. Yesterday they won 82-45 in the state semifinals. He said we need to withstand the early onslaught. They've done that. And if they can stay with them and force them to play a four-quarter basketball game, he feels like they'll reveal their underbelly at some point. It has been an up and down affair so far. Both of these teams playing well, but Legacy Christian doing exactly what they wanted to do, at least thus far, and they lead by a point.
Absolutely. Now it looks like Westbury might go to a 3-2 zone, maybe. I don't know, let's see.
Eagles basketball, sideline inbound.
More of a 1-2-2 look.
Tarian into the lane, and he finishes.
Tarian around Francis, what a shot.
Aaron Tarian has had a very nice first half.
He played great yesterday as well.
Long three on the way, misses long. Rebound tipped, offensive board. Putback won't go. Alexon thought about throwing the baseball pass, but after he turned it over doing that earlier in the day, rethought that decision, and they slowly bring it up the floor. Midpoint of the second quarter, a trap, but then open on the baseline. Back out for Tarian. Tyler Guidry thought that should have been a travel. No whistle. Pelham will slow things down, and Tarian will reset the offense. Tarian back to Pelham. Cross court, right in front of us, in the hands of Ryan Klink. Out of the trap, baseline, corner three once again for Alexon, and it will hang on the rim and fall.
Yeah, I think Westbury extending themselves so far up the floor may end up hurting them.
Right
but there's
back
the answer.
The other way.
Felix with the answer. Great shot.
Christopher Felix. His third three-pointer of the first half. Alexon for another. Yes, sir.
Well, he's filling it up today. He's got over his shooting woes yesterday, I guess, because he wasn't shooting like that yesterday. It's good for him.
A whistle before the shot there from Devin Smith, and it'll be a baseline inbound. 26-20. Legacy Christian, the defending state champs, but the underdog today. Not playing like an underdog through the first half. Leading by 6 over the number 1 Westbury Christian Wildcats. Inbounds, tipped around, steal by Legacy.
Trying to force it into Francis. That's probably not what they want to do there. They got to cut their turnovers and miss shots out. Westbury's had so many opportunities at the basket and they haven't converted. Letting Legacy stretch their lead. There goes Tarian.
Tarian can't quite finish. He had it tipped on the way up. Francis got a piece of it, and now they'll look to run. In transition, layup won't go for Felix. Rebound pulled down by Felix, and he's blocked from behind. It'll stay on this end. I think it may have been Holden Griffith that got a piece of it at the apex.
I think you're right. Right on the top of the ball. Great block.
Corner inbound for Westbury Christian once again.
Yeah, deep
Second
corner.
time in a couple of minutes they've been stuck in that corner.
Deep corner.
This time it'll come in for Francis. And up top for Cormier.
The oldest playing basketball.
Back to the inbounder. Farouk hits the three.
Yep. Pass it in, screen down, and come from out of bounds and shoot the ball. Oldest playing basketball. You'd think kids would be aware of that play, but it happens all the time and it's successful.
A foul in the backcourt. 2:25 to play here in the first half, but not yet in the bonus. So Legacy Christian will have a sideline inbound. Pelham and Tarian dealing with some pressure in the backcourt. It's Cormier trying to make life difficult. They pass over top of it for Klink. And now they'll set the offense.
I don't know if our fans have noticed, but how crisp Legacy's passes are, which is exactly what you have to make these good, sharp, crisp passes against a pressure team like Westbury.
Tarian down the lane again, has it stripped away. Westbury Christian trying to say that it ricocheted off his knee and out of bounds. But the officials say it'll stay here. Charles Rubia, Sean Mills, Michael Broomfield, our three-man officiating crew this afternoon for the 5A championship game. Corner three again. Misses long this time from Alexon. He's been lethal in that corner. Now a loose ball, and they're going to say a double dribble. Turnover, Legacy Christian basketball.
Now, I think Coach Johnson was absolutely right about Westbury having not played it very close games all year, and so it's starting to show, or at least it's been a while since they played a close game.
Legacy with a 3-point lead late here in the second quarter. Nice look underneath. Yep. Down the lane comes Garrett Pelham, lead to 5.
Any basketball players out there listening in, whenever you're overplayed, always backdoor, and that ended up for a basket for Legacy. Great play.
Final 90 seconds of the first half. Into the lane, trying to drop it off for Francis, and he puts it in. Nice job to create that play by Keelan Farouk. Now trouble, they pass over the top of it. Alexon tall enough to corral a wayward pass. Trap comes, Tarian runs away from it. Farouk pump fakes, fires a three, and it's going to rattle in for him. Jonathan Alexon has been lights out in the first half. Underneath, hook shot short off the hands of Francis. Alexon scoops it out for Pelham.
Griffin was too quick trying to get rid of that ball, almost cost his team a turnover. Great rebound, great box out.
Now Klink open in the lane, but he's canceled out. Francis there for another block. Farouk underneath, layup goes. Malachi Bowles cuts the lead to 4.
That's a beautiful fast break. Coach Johnson signals him to go for one. Westbury's going to want to hurry him up here.
12 seconds to play. Griffith in the corner for Klink, now back out for Tarian. 5 seconds to play as Tarian makes his move. Behind the back dribble, into the lane. Corner three on the way. Too hurried by Garrett Pelham. And it goes begging off the top of the backboard. 31-27. Number 2, Legacy Christian, the Eagles, the underdog. Up by 4 at the break.
Great first half. I don't know if anyone noticed a little subtle change that Legacy made there. Since Westbury's coming out and covering them so intensely, they've spread the floor. There's huge spacing, so there's a lot of space for them to dribble into and cut into, and it's giving Westbury problems, and that was a great adjustment by Coach Johnson. Great first half.
31-27, and yes, indeed, a fantastic first half. What else would we expect from the number 1 and number 2 teams in the state playing for a state championship in TAPS 5A? The second half of what's been an awesome one so far after the break here on TAPS TV. We welcome you back to West Texas, the 5A state championship game here on TAPS TV. Number 1, Westbury Christian. The Wildcats favored coming into this game. Cole Johnson, the head coach from Legacy Christian, said, nobody expects us to win this game. Nobody on their side expects us to win this game. No casual viewer expects us to win this game. The only ones that expect us to win are on our bench and in our fan group. And through one half of play, they lead 31-27 as we get underway here in the second half, and a foul drawn by Javier Francis.
But, you know, if I were the coach, I'm with Coach Johnson, I'd rather be the team that's not supposed to win as compared to be the team who's supposed to win, because then there's that extra pressure. Now, Westbury's playing a little bit like that. This shouldn't be happening, and it is.
They tipped away.
Yep.
And coming inbounds after throwing the inbounds pass was Felix. And it goes over to Legacy Christian.
I just don't think that play's going to work against Legacy. They're too well coached for that play to work.
Trapped in the corner, Klink able to pass out of it. And now up the floor it comes for Pelham. Corner 3. Rattles out. They have set up Jonathan Alexon for that corner 3 all day out of this trap.
And he's been hitting them today. I'll tell you what, he's been on fire.
17 first half points on 5 3-pointers. Corner 3 won't go for Griffith. And throwing it over the head of his intended target. That was Joseph Cormier throwing the pass over the top. Trying to find Christopher Felix in the corner, but just too much on it. Tyler Guidry trying to bark out signals to his team, trying to create some pressure here, and a turnover. Felix with the steal, into the lane, lays it in.
Stole it and made the basket. What a move.
Pressure again, and another steal. Into the front court, tie game. Keelan Farouk with the steal in the lane.
Nice move.
Havoc here in the early going for Legacy Christian, but up the floor they go. It's blocked away. Francis cancels it out. He's approaching double-digit blocks in this basketball game. Pass through the hands of Farouk and out of bounds. But very clearly Westbury Christian trying to come out and create panic in the early going here in the third quarter.
And I really like what Farouk did just a few plays ago, where he got behind the basket. The basketball was ahead of him. He got behind the basketball and did a little tip away to get the steal, and that's what you have to do when you're behind the ball as a defender.
Alexon's corner 3 won't go. Cormier up ahead. Francis pounds it. Westbury with the lead.
That one might really wake him up.
He had just 2 points in the first half. Now another steal. And the layup will go for Cormier.
Yep,
timeout. Cole Johnson, an 8-0 run in 1 minute and 47 seconds. And Westbury Christian's up 4.
That's just how fast a lead can slip away when you're playing a team like Westbury. Lots of deflections. It's amazing the number of deflections they've had just in that short of time to be able to get the turnovers to go in and score these quick flurry of points. Well done by Westbury, and now Coach Johnson's got to get his guys to settle down and regain their composure, maybe get from out over their skis, get back on their skis a little bit, get under control.
When you play a team as gifted as Westbury Christian is, I think we're not telling secrets out of school here to say that Westbury Christian has the higher preponderance of talent on the basketball floor right now. Legacy Christian played outstanding in the first half, led by 4 at the break, and they played the game of their lives to be in that situation through 16 minutes of basketball. They only really play 6, maybe 7 guys. That takes a lot out of you.
You just got to wonder when that's going to tell on their execution, because it's tough.
And maybe has it already here in the opening couple of minutes of the third.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes a halftime rest isn't a good thing.
Inbounds pass and a foul. Cormier a little too aggressive there.
Yeah, that was a good foul. I mean,
his
a good
second
call.
Foul.
It wasn't a good foul, it was a good call.
Not much foul trouble to speak of at halftime. 2 fouls on Garrett Pelham. He's the only player in the game with 2 until now. Cormier joins him just moments ago. Tarian, who was so good in the first half, had just 6 points, but he was instrumental in leading Legacy out to that 31-27 halftime lead. Now they're going to slow things down, and Cole Johnson says loop to his offense. Tarian, high off the glass, no good. The impact of Cormier, but now a steal. Foot on the line, long 2. That'll go down as a 2. His foot was on the line. And now a turnover.
Westbury's killing themselves with their turnovers. They just need to settle down a little bit and cut those turnovers out. They're just letting Legacy stay in the game.
Back to the press goes Westbury Christian. Legacy able to break it. Pass down low, Cormier with the steal, but he has to throw it back in bounds, and it goes right back to Legacy. Tie game. Pelham with the lay-in. No 4 straight points for him.
No quitting Legacy.
35-35, 3 minutes into the third quarter. Cormier all alone for 3. Yes, sir.
Goodness. He was 2 steps behind the three-point line, looked like from here. What a shot.
But left wide open. In transition, a 3. An answer. Garrett Pelham with 7 straight for Legacy Christian. Back comes Felix. Draws the foul. Tied at 38 here at West High School.
I was watching Felix here, just thinking back on a conversation I had with Bobby Crimmins many years ago. He said he would always take his players and have them do an arm stretch with their fingertip on the floor and the fingertip as high on the wall as they could stretch out, and he would mark it. And if that wingspan was tall, higher, longer than they were tall, they were supposed to be great defensive players. and you think about the way Felix has played, he's gotten a lot of deflections and harassed a lot of passes because of that wingspan that he has, and I bet he would be taller wingspan-wise than he is height-wise.
A 1 for 2 trip for him at the free throw line, and they go back in front. And now that length joins the pressure.
Yep, there it is.
And he knocks it out of bounds. Sideline inbound for Legacy. 4:20 to play, third quarter. Tarian holding. Now he'll go to work into the lane. Tries to put it high off the glass, can't finish. The tip-in will go. The second jump from Tarian. And now a whistle in the backcourt. The foul will go against Pelham.
Whoever was guarding Tarian there needed to get that box. They had the block, but they needed to get the box out instead of letting them have that second chance, because Francis did his job, but the man guarding Tarian didn't box him out.
Some frustration on the sideline from Tyler Guidry, the Wildcats head coach, hollering at Christopher Felix, trying to communicate what they need to do here as they try to seesaw back in front. They trail by 1 midpoint of the third quarter. Corner 3 on the way for Farouk, off the front iron. Tarian behind the back. And now a foul on Farouk.
Well, a frenetic pace in this game. They had Alazon in the corner wide open. They just didn't see him.
He was standing in the corner doing jumping jacks, trying to get their attention.
He sure was.
Clink who had 25 yesterday. Gives in the corner for Alexan. Now back to Terrian. Hounded, goes behind the back, throws in the middle. Alexan, corner, pump fake, another pump fake. Now he'll fire, misses short.
That was a nice move by Alexan. Just didn't go for him.
Devin Smith down the lane, high off the glass.
Goodness.
Devin Smith with some big minutes off the bench for Westbury Christian. Timeout on the floor. 2:58 to play, third quarter, and back in front go the Wildcats.
I want to go back to that play. Are we on?
Yeah.
I want to go back to that play, that Legacy run called the loop.
Yeah.
I wish I had a telestrator I could show you what it was. Just as simple. They looped Pelham out up to the top and let Terrion drive right in behind that loop, and the lane was wide open. He could have drove a Mack truck all the way to the basket. Problem is, you got Francis there. So you know when I'm driving to the basket with the ball and I know Francis is there, I'm thinking about that guy. Hey, man, when this guy blocked my shot, can I get it over him? So great play, but man, Francis is such a force in there, even if he doesn't block it.
He impacts every shot in the paint.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
41-40. Number one, Westbury Christian. The 26-9 Wildcats lead number two, Legacy Christian. The 30-6 Eagles, underdogs today, but playing sensational basketball and forcing the Wildcats to, as we've talked about all day, it appears they're going to force them to play a four-quarter basketball game.
Yeah, they're stretching their limits, that's for sure. They are having to give everything and then some. And Legacy's certainly playing with tremendous effort.
Terrian, nice catch, and runs up the floor. The layup won't go, though. And a jump ball will keep it on this end.
I'm amazed by the fact that they can inbound the ball, get it right back to Terrian, who inbounds the ball, and he can go the length of the court to the front of the rim and get a shot without somebody stepping in to stop his penetration. I mean, he's a charge waiting to happen, and they just won't step in and take the charge.
Terrian controls top of the key. In the corner. Now back to Terrian. Klink. Legacy content to let some clock burn away. Terrian now down the lane. Tough adjustment on the layup, it won't go. Klink with the board. And it's swatted again.
Holy cow.
Francis with another block.
2 blocks in a row.
And what a move in the backcourt by Smith to bring it up the floor. Can he finish it with the lay-in? No.
That young
Klink
man.
up the floor. Layup blown, but it's back to Klink for three. No good. And an offensive foul on Christopher Felix.
Yeah, he's getting his arm out.
Tyler Guidry can't believe the call.
Devin Smith is a fine little point guard, and he's pushing the ball up there just a minute ago. He's going to learn someday that he can do that little pull-up jumper and have a lot better chance of making the basket than that floater he tried to put up. But what effort by him to get the ball up there. He just needs to learn that jump-stop jumper.
Klink trying to deal with the pressure. Trapped in the backcourt. Fires it down the near sideline. Alexan trying to save it, and he can't. Westbury Christian creating havoc in this second half. Their pressure has given Legacy Christian fits.
Yes, absolutely. That's a bit, you know, the traps they set are big traps. It's not like they're little
right.
people. I mean, you got to feel like you're in a telephone booth there, which is just the way you want to set the trap. And they're doing a really good job of it. A little 4-down action.
Final 90 seconds of the third quarter. Down low, they get it for Francis. Foul before the dunk.
Wow.
The foul will go against Holden Griffith, and it'll be a baseline inbound.
I just wonder what Francis is going to look like when he gets a chance to really be in the weight room in college. He's going to be quite a specimen.
And he's got another year still to go in the high school level. The number 24 forward in the country, according to Rivals.com. Sets the screen here for the corner three. Aaron Williams off the bench, a big bucket. Lead back to 4 for Westbury Christian. Minute to play in the third. Tarian hounded. Solid with the basketball, and he'll get it back straight away. And now a foul.
That's a silly foul. Just move your feet. You know, one of the things that kids don't understand on defense, you get down on defense, and it used to be they say play the belly button, but you don't play the belly button, you play the ball. So if you're out, clear out on the ball, that's where the guy's going, where the ball is.
Yeah.
And so you got to get your feet out there and get your body out there to where the ball is.
49.8 as Tarian takes the inbound pass, trapped, in trouble, passes out of it. Floater goes.
Oh, wow.
Holden Griffith has the lead. Tyler Gidry barking out signals from the sideline as Westbury Christian holds possession with 20 to play in the third. They lead by 2 in the 5A state championship game. Handoff for Felix down the lane. Adjusts, draws the foul, can't quite finish.
He just split that trap. I could just see that unfolding, that he was going to go right through that trap. When you trap someone, you got to have that door closed to the middle of the floor. You got to force them to the side if they're going to dribble. And he saw the opportunity and took full advantage of it.
Felix at the line for 2, misses the first.
Mass substitution for Westbury. Something that Legacy doesn't have the flexibility to do.
Final 12 and a half seconds here of the third quarter. Gidry barking out signals. You got to imagine some sort of pressure is coming for these waning seconds. Free throw misses. Alex on with the rebound. 9 seconds to play. Crosses over at midcourt. Down the lane. Fires on the run. No. Clink. Kick out. Pump fake. 3 at the buzzer. Rattles off the hand of Griffith. And we'll head to the fourth. 2-point game in the 5A state championship game here on TAPS TV. If there's something more fun than this, I don't know what it is. 44-42 through 3 quarters of play in the 5A state championship game. Number 1, Westbury Christian leads number 2, Legacy Christian by a deuce. Mike Leslie and Earl Garland back with you here at West High School. And Earl, this has been a blast.
Yeah, this will make you fall back in love with basketball if you've been out of love.
How could you be out of love?
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is awesome. I'm so glad I have this opportunity. Been great working with you, Mike, and this is so much fun.
Likewise. And if the final frame is anything like the first 3, where do I sign?
Well, a little 1-3-1 from...
And a travel out of it. Farouk couldn't keep his feet.
Smart move by Coach Johnson. Seeing the defense coming out of the timeout between the periods and rattled Westbury just a little bit.
Now pressure again from Westbury. Nice passing to get over top of it, and numbers here. Ahead for Alexon for 3. Somehow that went off the backboard and in. Legacy Christian back in front by a point.
Now they're in a 1-2-2.
Nearly swiped away by Pelham. Now Felix will set the offense. Inside, too easy for Javier Francis.
He's almost unstoppable unless he gets double teamed, and I'm not sure that would work.
Speaking of a double team, Tarian has to dribble through one, leaves it for Alexon. Step back three, rattles off. Rebound, down to Klink. Corner three, misses long. Another offensive board, but he's out of bounds. Tarian thought for sure that he had stayed in bounds before he leapt.
Westbury has got to do a better job boxing out on the shot. They're just giving Legacy too many second chances. It's going to come back to haunt them if they don't get busy on the boards.
Meanwhile, Alexon, after being fantastic in the first half, 17 points, 5 made threes, didn't score in the third. As the answer here from Cormier, back in front by 3 goes Westbury Christian. He's now got 20 on the day, does Alexon though. Hard to the hoop, can't finish, gets his own board, and draws the foul on his way back up.
You know what I like about Alexon though is he stays in his lane. He doesn't try to do more than he's able to do. He's never like out of control. He knows that his primary game is to shoot that three. He gets set, he's ready to accept the pass, and his teammates, to their credit, give him great passes. And you know, a great pass is I can catch it and go right into my shot. And so it's just fun to watch him play in his lane. He doesn't drive very often, but he was successful there. He's more of the spot-up shooter and does a great job of it.
Jonathan Mosley checks in for Legacy Christian. 2 for 2 trip at the free throw line for Alexon. He's got 22 now on the day, and the lead's back down to 1. 6 1/4 to play in the final frame.
Now we're changing to a 2-3 zone. I like this.
Trying to keep Westbury Christian off balance as Legacy Christian into the lane. Nice finish by Christopher Felix.
Well, off balance for a second.
Trapped again is Klink. Strong with the basketball, and a timeout called by Cole Johnson.
That's a good timeout.
50-47. The tally here in the fourth, 5:53 to play.
Those traps of Westbury are starting to pay dividends for Legacy.
5:53 on the clock. I apologize, we were being handed waters there. I didn't hear what were you saying there?
I said those traps for Westbury are starting to pay dividends. I believe it's really beginning to, as you tire physically, then you also tire mentally.
Yes.
And so, Westbury players have got to be tired. We got 5:53 left in this fourth quarter, and they have been playing guts out on the floor. And then every time they turn around, there's a Westbury player trapping them, or 2 or whatever. It probably feels like there's a bunch of guys out there. So I'm really impressed with their execution, but it's got to tell on them here at some point.
As a coach, is there anything you can do other than perhaps creative usage of your timeouts to help a team like this that you only do play 6 or 7 kids to try and keep them gassed up for these final 5 minutes and change?
Well, some of it would be a good weight training program. I'm serious.
You're right.
I'm being serious, because weight training builds stamina. And then, of course, you just have to do some good cardiovascular training. And my last stint of coaching at Prince of Peace Christian, I was benefited to have a strength and conditioning coach for the first time ever in my career. And I tell you what, that made a big difference for our kids. But when you're playing limited numbers, they've got to be in great shape. That's the bottom line. And I'm sure Coach knows that he has a limited number. What I'm amazed by is how does he replicate in practice what they're facing here today? There's no way. He can't do that. So that they're executing as well as they are against an extremely talented team is a real kudos to them.
Klink 1 for 2 at the free throw line, lead down to 2, back the other way, Francis with the flush. Javier Francis, an athletic specimen. He has controlled the game on the defensive end and some big impacts on the offensive end as well. Alexon with the air ball, but an offensive board for Legacy Christian.
I just can't believe the lack of boxing out by Westbury there. That was an easy box out on the backside, and he just watched the Legacy player get the rebound.
Terrian couldn't finish, and now the defensive board pulled down by the Warriors, by the Wildcats, beg your pardon. And a travel. Tough catch for Francis, and as he was trying to catch it, he was taking a couple of steps.
Yeah, I'm not sure he actually traveled there, but it looked like it, so that's usually how it's going to get called. You got to have possession of the ball to travel, and I don't think he had possession, but
yeah.
Hey.
Still a 4-point lead for Westbury Christian. Knocked out of bounds on the sideline, last touched by Christopher Felix. It'll stay on this end.
And there's that reach by Felix getting those deflections. He just about bounced it off the Legacy player. He thought he had.
Pelham inside. Alexon draws the foul.
That was a good foul. Alexon a little more active today than he was yesterday. Maybe he wasn't feeling well yesterday. I don't know. I mean, he's played great today.
He's got 22 on the afternoon. Free throw misses though. He had a 1-for-2 trip a moment ago, and that's the best he can hope for right now and try and cut it back to a one-possession game if he can sink this one. And he does.
Back to the 2-3 zone.
Felix. Down low for Francis. And a foul.
It's almost like the official was waiting to see if it was going to go in the basket before he called the foul.
It did feel that way, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, probably not the way to make the call, but.
I will say this, though. Especially in a game of this caliber, you want the best players on the floor.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't want guys dealing with foul trouble. So in that kind of circumstance where I believe the foul went against Jonathan Alexon, who's been exceptional for Legacy Christian today, if the shot is finished by Francis, let's play on.
I agree.
Referee at advantage, disadvantage.
Yep.
There was a disadvantage because he missed the shot, put him at the free throw line.
Yep.
And Francis makes both in the lead. I beg your pardon, did he make one of two?
Yeah, he's one
lead
of two.
is 4. 53-49. Up the floor comes Terrian. Alexon in the corner. Baseline drive. Tough adjustment, and he'll head to the free throw line for 2.
Man, we didn't see any of this out of Alexon yesterday. This is incredible. He's attacking the basket like a beast, man. He's getting in there aggressively. It's awesome. He wants to win a state championship, Mike. He's got to make free throws, though.
Yes, he does. Back-to-back 1-for-2 trips in the recent moments. Hits the first this time.
I don't think a good shooter is going to go 1 for 2 very often.
He's hit 6 3-pointers today. 5 in the first half, 1 early on in the third quarter that gave Legacy Christian the lead. They have not led since, but a 2-for-2 trip here, and the lead is down to 2.
And Legacy staying with that 2-3.
As we approach the midpoint of the fourth quarter, knocked away. The steal by Mosley. And he finishes plus the foul. Jonathan Mosley, the 6th man for the Eagles, with the biggest play of the fourth quarter yet. A steal, a lay-in, and the foul, and a chance to put the Eagles in front by a point.
I always like a 6th man who could contribute like that. And that was over a block attempt by Felix. It's pretty interesting he was able to get that shot off.
And the Westbury number 3,
Westbury Christian will bring Devin Smith back on the floor. He'll check in for Malachi Bowles. And after all that, Mosley misses the free throw. The tip-in won't go. Knocked out of bounds. It's going to stay on this end.
The lack of strong box outs are killing Westbury. I'm telling you, that's keeping Legacy in the game.
And thanks to this one, a chance for Legacy Christian to take the lead. Baseline inbound. Pelham to key it. Up top for Tarian. And they'll set the offense. 3:53 to play, fourth quarter, tie game. Pelham spinning at the top of the key. Off the screen from Tarian. Down the lane, throws it up, and a block.
Yep, that was a good call because I can't see who it is.
Justin Sebring coming in late.
Yeah, he turned his shoulder into Pelham, and that's a good call by the official. But look at the spacing that Legacy has offensively. I mean, they are 20 feet apart on the floor, and trying to cover that much space, even as fast as Westbury is very difficult to do.
So to the free throw line goes Garrett Pelham, the senior, to give the Eagles the lead. Hits the first. With that foul, 10 in the half on Westbury Christian. That was a shooting foul, so it didn't matter this time, but the rest of the way, the Eagles to the line for two. First one, good. Second one, no good.
And that double bonus may prove to be very important here. Maybe critical.
Underneath and a push.
Yep.
Holden Griffith trying to hold his ground against Javier Francis.
That's not a bad foul.
Officials trying to clarify if that's the seventh team foul. It is. And Francis will head to the free throw line for a 1-and-1. Charles Rubia, our crew chief, communicating with the scorer's table to be sure. See if Francis can have any more success at the free throw line than Legacy Christian has recently. 4 missed free throws for the Eagles in the last few moments. This one rolls off the front rim.
I tell you, and it's an old adage, but free throws win games, but I'm going to say it. I just said it. Free throws win games, and when you can't connect at the line with your free throw shooting, it's going to put you in peril.
Klink to the baseline, draws the foul. And that is 5 fouls. If that's 5 fouls on Javier Francis. Francis talking with the officials. And it is indeed the best player for Westbury Christian. A 5th foul as the senior Klink drove baseline, hunting for that 5th and final foul for the junior. And Francis will have to take a seat. 54-53 Legacy Christian with the lead and a chance to add to it as Klink will head to the free throw line. Tyler Guidry will use the pseudo timeout to discuss with his team.
Yeah, he gets 30 seconds to make a sub for someone who fouled out, and I guess he was allowed that, it looks like.
So the 5 now for Westbury Christian. Devin Smith on the floor, Christopher Felix, Justin Sebring, Keelan Farouk, and Joseph Cormier. Sitting on the bench, their best player, Javier Francis, fouled out. Klink very short on the first free throw.
Man, this has not been an exhibition of great free throw shooting here today.
Second one for Klink will go. And the lead is 2 for the Eagles.
Yeah, nice comeback on the second free throw. Legacy staying with that 2-3, why not?
3 minutes to play. The defending champs, Legacy Christian, leading by 2 over number 1 Westbury Christian. Nearly thrown away. They maintain possession, and now a foul from behind. Tarian a little too aggressive.
Yeah, you can't ever fault a young man for being aggressive. He just got in the mix there. But great effort. Tarian's a heck of a player.
And you know, we've talked all day about the talent quotient favoring Westbury Christian. With the foul out of Francis, you can't help but wonder, does that balance things out? Are we on a level playing field now, these two teams?
I'd say they're going to be real close now.
First free throw goes. One more for Felix as he hits the front side of the 1-and-1. Hits them both. Tie game. .250 to play. A trap in the backcourt. Pelham dribbles away from it. Have to hustle to get it across the timeline, and they do. And Tarian will set the offense. Alexon in the corner. Now back up top for Pelham.
Look how wide open the middle of the floor is.
Baseline drive. Tarian stepped on the end line. Hands on his head. He can't believe the call, but the turnover gives it back to Westbury Christian with 2:24 to play.
Coach Johnson didn't like that call, but he's not in a position to see whether his man stepped out of bounds or not. But I like the competitive spirit.
Handoff on the right wing for Cormier. Skip pass over the top. In the corner, it's Farouk. Throws it away. Mosley with the steal. And a very clear offensive foul. Cormier, the sophomore with a veteran play, camped out and waited for Mosley.
Yeah, that's something that Westbury could have been doing much earlier in the game, but I don't know. I think there was a confusion between the two officials because one called block and one called charge.
It's pretty obvious from where I was sitting that was a charge.
I'd just give it a toss-up.
Yeah?
Yeah. I still think having that half moon would be a good addition to the high school game to help officials.
And now a technical foul. I haven't seen exactly who they're giving it against, whether it's the head coach, Cole Johnson, or if it's one of their players.
I didn't see it either. I was busy talking about the half moon, which was
But the absolute worst possible time to do this, as you send Felix to the free throw line for 2, and Westbury will have the basketball. The first one rims off.
You know, there's never a good time for a technical, but with 1 minute and 59 seconds left, that's the worst time to have a technical.
Second free throw will go. Westbury Christian back in front by a point.
And they get the possession, I think, don't they?
They do indeed.
Yep. That's what really hurts. I think Westbury's going to take a timeout.
Timeout on the floor. Tyler Guidry wants to talk things over.
That's a good thing. Get his guys organized to finish out the game.
Just getting some clarification from our officiating crew. 6 players on the floor was the technical foul, so it wasn't anything relating to the foul. It wasn't anything related to a frustration from Legacy Christian, but they had 6 players on the floor. That is what necessitated the technical foul, and that's why Westbury Christian now leads by a point after the free throw from Christopher Felix. 56-55, 1:59 to play in the fourth quarter, and it will be Wildcat ball out of the timeout.
Yeah, that's one of the when I noticed there was some confusion subbing Pelham in, and I don't think Pelham let the guy he was subbing for know he was coming out, and so that's very crucial that you communicate So that led to this 1-point lead for Westbury. An innocent mistake, but one that's hard to have at this time of the game.
The atmosphere here at West High School is electric for a 1-point game.
Yeah, this is great.
119 seconds to settle out who's the state champion in 5A. Number 1 and number 2 in the state. Westbury Christian, 26-9 on the year. Favored heavily coming in. Legacy Christian, number 2, playing them tough. Three-pointer rattles out. Legacy with the rebound.
Yeah, Legacy went to the trap there, which is really good on their part. Another adjustment coming out of a...
Tarian, how did he get through all that,
goodness.
and he draws the foul?
He did that all day yesterday. He got to the basket on drives. You just would ask yourself, how in the world did that happen? Great drive. But Legacy giving their last gasp of effort here, trapping on this defensive end. And again, a good adjustment by Coach Johnson to put the pressure on Westbury.
Lefty free throw to tie the game is good. Aaron Tarian for the lead. Rolls home. 57-56. Legacy Christian seesaws back in front.
Tarian with a one-man press.
Hounding Devin Smith, but he's able to get around him. Now back up top for Felix. Some contact, no whistle. Buck 20 to play. Number 1, Westbury Christian trails by a point. Smith to Felix on the left wing. Passing around the zone, they find an open 3, rattles off the hands of Cormier. And a foul on the rebound. 2 free throws forthcoming for Legacy Christian.
Number 5 for Legacy was over the back. I don't see him here in our list of players. Oh, Farouk. Yeah, sorry, guys.
Keelan Farouk
Sorry,
whistled for the foul.
Westbury fans.
Well, in your defense, part of the confusion, and this is kind of a funny story, he was number 50 yesterday. And the reason for that, Tyler Guidry was telling me, is because their white jerseys got washed with something they shouldn't have been and came out tie-dyed, so they had to readjust their numbers as the first free throw is missed here by Griffith. Lead stays at 1, but that was the confusion with the numbers. So on our chart here, you're seeing number 5/50 for Keelan Farouk.
Yeah.
He's 5, though, again today.
Thank you for bailing the old man out. That's why I always washed the uniforms myself. I didn't want pink whites, and I didn't want tie-dye blues.
One more free throw here for Griffith, trying to establish a 2-point lead. Can't. It stays 57-56, and Legacy Christian has let some chances go by the boards at the free throw line here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think they could have a 4 or 5-point lead if they hit their free throws.
Timeout, Tyler Guidry.
Yeah. Good timeout. So could he possibly talk about going for 1? And would Legacy plan for that and trap as quick as they can so they can't do that? I don't know. I would be tossing that up in my mind if I were coaching.
53.2,
yeah.
The clock reads. That's a long time to try and hold the basketball.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Although, to your point, it's not a long time to hold the basketball if the defense will let you do it.
Correct. And they
so
are
if Legacy Christian can come out of here with some sort of pressure,
yeah.
But then here's the flip side of that coin. In a game where I still would argue that Westbury Christian has got the athleticism advantage, you might leave yourself open for something on the backside.
Yep, true. It's an either or, really.
To me, if I'm Cole Johnson, you know what? You want to play for 1 shot? You want to give yourself 1 chance to win the basketball game down a point? Be my guest.
Yep.
We'll play defense 1 time.
I agree. And maybe that's what they're going to – I don't know. Let's see what's going to happen. They're going to shoot quick and try to get another possession, or we'll see.
Yeah, if I'm Tyler Guidry, I think I want more than 1 bite at the apple here.
Yeah, I agree. Well, if you go for 1, you still want to get the shot up with 8 or 10 seconds so you can get a rebound.
It'll be a sideline inbound for Justin Sebring. Up top, and Devin Smith will dribble with 48. Hands off, Felix down the lane. No call, now a charge. Ryan Klink steps in and takes the contact in the chest. Felix called for the charge, Legacy ball. It is double bonus, but it's an offensive foul, so no free throws. Baseline inbound for Legacy Christian, up by a point, 44.7 to play.
That could end up being the play of the game.
Cole Johnson trying to get all of his assistant coaches back on the bench. Now some confusion and a discussion.
Yeah, the foul was on 4. 4 is the guy that...
They're pointing at number 4. I think what they're trying to argue is that that's his 5th foul. Anyway, back to the action they go. Cross-court pass, very dangerous, but they get away with it, and the layup goes for Mosley. Lead to 3.
The 6th man strikes again.
Felix now has it ripped away. The steal by Terrian into the front court. And he draws the foul.
Terrian said, Coach, I'm not going for one. I'm going for the bucket, baby.
25.9 to play, and Mosley with a primal scream into the student section for Legacy Christian. Cole Johnson trying to get his whole team to relax and understand, hey, it's still a one-possession game. Of course, Terrian has a chance to change that here at the free throw line, but this game is by no means over, especially if they continue to miss free throws as they have here in the recent moments.
Yeah, this free throw exhibition has been lacking the makes. Goodness.
We are not the beneficiaries of live stats here, but I would estimate about 50% in the fourth quarter, and he misses both.
Well, I don't think it's been 50%.
And now a foul against Terrian is going to send Westbury Christian to the free throw line for 1-1. It'll be Farouk to shoot the free throws.
Shooting 2.
And now shooting 2. They are in the double bonus. Farouk to shoot 2. 24.5 left to play in the fourth. First one rattles out.
Goodness, my goodness. This box out here is crucial.
Tyler Guidry trying to say to Farouk to follow through. Westbury Christian trying to set up the press after what they hope will be a make here to cut the lead to 2. And it is. 59-57. 24.5 to play. Terrian dribbles out of it, draws the foul on Cormier.
He's the right guy to foul because Terrian hadn't had a good day at the line, but
he just missed both a moment ago. And now he'll head back to the free throw line. His team up 2. 2 makes would make it a 2-possession game,
yes,
and make this very difficult for Westbury Christian. 2 misses would leave open the opportunity that the Wildcats could take the lead. First one misses off the right side. Now 3 straight free throws missed for Terrian here in the final minute.
I don't think I've ever seen a free thrower. He's shooting left-handed and he throws his right hand back behind his head. Watch his shot here. I don't think I've ever seen that on a free throw before.
Second one won't go anyway, but an offensive rebound. Pulled down by Klink. Cross court, 16 seconds to play. Trying to run away from a foul now is Legacy Christian, and Pelham will head to the free throw line. 12.2 to play, and a massive offensive board from Ryan Klink.
That's incredible. I mean, I'd say one of the weaknesses in Westbury's arm today has been their defensive rebounding. They have not done a good job boxing out. I think they've gotten so used to depending on their athletic ability to get the rebounds. They're really not physically checking out.
Finally, mercifully, a free throw make
mercifully
for Legacy Christian, but they need another here for Pelham to make it a 2-possession game. Everything's still on the table for Westbury Christian if he misses here. All net. 61-57. Legacy Christian with the lead.
And a timeout by Coach Johnson to set his defense. Great coaching. Good stuff.
12.2 to play. Legacy Christian in the state championship game on the strength of a run from the number 2 seed out of District 1. A 66-47 win in the area round against Dallas Christian. A 70-36 win against Brighter Horizons Academy in the regional final. They beat Grapevine Faith, their district rival and the number 1 seed out of District 1 in the semifinal yesterday, 77-61, and now they lead by 4 with 12.2 to play in the fourth quarter of the 5A state championship game, and their student section can taste it right now.
Yes, they can. I was really surprised by that score yesterday against Faith. I really thought that'd be a much closer game.
Well, and as you said earlier, it was played closer than that. There was some garbage buckets late that extended it.
Yeah, but I can tell you Faith wasn't hitting the threes like they normally hit.
Yeah.
And they did a great job on Lundale, who was he led the Metroplex in scoring. Did Grapevine Faith Lundale all year at 28.2. So Legacy did a wonderful job on him defending him. It's kind of taking
Final
him out of the
10
game.
seconds here. Felix down the lane, down by 4, cuts it in half, 4.7 to play, and a timeout called by Guidry.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
61-59. No, it is not.
It's not over yet.
Quick 2 from Felix. Legacy Christian will be able to run the baseline out of the timeout, but the pressure that has been so prevalent in the second half for Westbury Christian has to have a turnover here to create some havoc.
Yeah, you said it well, and I wonder if we'll see a little trick play from Legacy where we go in from the court, pass it across out of bounds and in. You ever seen that old play?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we might see that because that's just how crafty Cole is.
I saw maybe the most creative inbounds play I've ever seen for that kind of situation. All 5 players ran out of bounds. They passed it along the baseline, and then 4 players went on verticals like it was a football play, and that was literally what they called the play.
Yeah.
That kind of creativity is what you kind of need for this type of moment. All you've got to do is elapse 4.7 seconds, and you're state champions. Now a timeout called by Cole Johnson.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the kids love those kind of plays.
Oh, yeah. But here's the other factor in all of this. As much as Westbury Christian wants to create havoc first and perhaps create a turnover, the very next thing you've got to do if that doesn't happen is foul immediately. There is still enough time here, and with the way that Legacy Christian has shot free throws here in the second half, particularly here in the fourth quarter, getting a free throw miss is not out of the realm of possibility. If you can get a 1-for-2 trip or perhaps an 0-for-2 trip as we've seen, there's still enough time for you to create something here in these final 4.7 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Let's see what happens. We got a stack here for inbounds.
It'll be Aaron Tarian to throw it inbounds for Legacy Christian, guarded by Justin Sebron. Gets it inbounds for Pelham, immediately fouled, 3.4 to play.
Nice inbounds play and a good quick foul by Westbury.
Pelham just hit 2 free throws. He'll head back to the line for 2.
And Mike, I was just told there's no more timeouts for either team.
Okay. This is the one downside of the fact that our mid-court scoreboard does not work. All of those types of pieces of information, who's in the double bonus, how many team fouls, how many fouls on an individual player, how many timeouts left, we're kind of absent that information with just the end line scoreboards. As the first free throw misses, and Westbury Christian is alive. 3.4 to play. The lead will be 3 at the most. The lack of timeouts is important because regardless on a make or a miss, Westbury Christian is going to have to rush the ball up the floor.
Well, they're obviously setting up something down the sideline, but that's the Legacy's not going to fall for that.
3.4 is Pelham. Misses the second. The offensive rebound pulled down.
Mosley.
Unbelievable. Mosley again, who's had a monster fourth quarter.
I tell you what, without him, oh my gosh, this is so great for a sixth man to contribute like this.
Without Jonathan Mosley, they're not in the lead right now. Lead is 2. He'll go back to the free throw line for 2 more.
At the free throw line, for Legacy, Mosley.
That foul went against Cormier, so he's now done for the day. His 5th foul. 1.9 to play. And again, no timeouts for Westbury Christian. First one misses, so technically they're still alive here. 1.9 is enough time to get the ball up the court.
Of course, they can't give up another offensive rebound.
No, they can't. Second free throw, falls. Baseline inbounds. Have to get a 3-pointer to tie the game. That is not the play that is going to do it. And Legacy Christian with the upset in the championship game. 61-62-59. Winners over number 1 Westbury Christian. The Eagles coming from behind to steal a championship.
I'm stunned. What an effort by Legacy. What a great coaching job. I think Coach Johnson pulled all the right moves today, made the right adjustments. If they'd have made their free throws, it would have been a much larger lead for victory. You know, they just kind of left the door open for Westbury, but
they did.
Goodness, what an effort. What an effort.
A big hug between one of the assistant coaches and one of the stars of the 4th quarter, Jonathan Mosley. The 6th man for Legacy Christian played brilliant basketball, impacted the game on both ends of the floor, and a big part of why they won.
I think everybody should be hugging Mosley right now.
Ryan Klink as well, a couple of big plays. Aaron Terrian played great all game long. What a finish. And Legacy Christian, 5 senior starters.
Yep.
Mosley a senior as well. And they get to celebrate a championship. Cole Johnson said it to us before the game. They haven't had to play 4 quarters of basketball. If we can force them to do that, they may show their underbelly at some point. They did, and Legacy Christian capitalized on it.
He was a prophet in his own time. It's amazing. But he did a heck of a coaching job, and the kids did a great job of executing. So kudos and hats off to Legacy Christian.
As the student section from Legacy Christian chants out back to back. Legacy champions last year, champions again today. And we'll pass it over to our public address announcer, John Pritchett, to announce the all-tournament team in 5A and hand out the medals for our runners-up, Westbury Christian, and your 5A state champions, Legacy Christian.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2025 Boys All-Tournament team. Congratulations, gentlemen. Number 3, senior, Devin Smith. Number 4, junior, Christopher Felix. Number 5, senior, Keelan Farouk. Number 10, junior, Franklin. Number 11, junior, Michael Ware. Number 13, sophomore, Joseph Cormier. Number 15, senior, Isaiah Dunlap. Number 21, junior, Nicholas Solomon. Number 22, junior, Justin Siebler. Number 25, sophomore, Malachi Gold. Number 30, senior, Kennedy Ray. Number 33, junior, Craig Berry. Assistant coach, Elvin Young. Assistant coach, Brandon Scott. Assistant coach, Ron Turner. And assistant coach, Antoine Haddad. And head coach, Tyler Henry. Now, please step forward and receive your runner-up plaque and banner, the runner-up for Conference 5A Boys 2020. Congratulations! And now recognizing the 2020 5A Boys State Champion. Presenting their title last year by becoming a record of 32-6, the Eagles of Legacy Christian Academy of Frisco. As we call your name, please step forward. Head coach Coach Johnson will bring each player with their championship medal. Beginning with number 0, senior Luke Kennedy. Number 30, senior Jonathan Alexander. Number 32, sophomore Matthew Brennan. Number 34, senior Kate Green. Number 40, junior Max Lowry. Number 42, junior Jack Dickerson. Number 44, sophomore Carson Klein. And in reserve, Kate Howard. Assistant coach, Ben Gilpatrick. Assistant coach, Bill Carlin. Assistant coach, Herman Jackson. Assistant coach, Mitchell Wilson. And head coach, Cole Johnson. And now, Eagles of Liberty Christian Academy, please step forward and accept your state championship plaque and banner. The Eagles of Liberty Christian Academy Frisco, 2020 5A Boys State Champion. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Back-to-back state champions, Legacy Christian. What a show that basketball game was.
That was incredible. I do want to say, I don't think people realize how hard it is to win back-to-back state championships. It's an incredible feat by Legacy and Coach Johnson and the Legacy team. It's not easy to do this, to repeat. And, you know, it's really interesting in Westbury's history. They've won 20, and at one point, I believe they won 14 in a row. So,
Meanwhile, I just got to say, all class from Tyler Guidry, the head coach of Westbury Christian.
Yes, very much so.
The way that he's handling an incredibly difficult moment for these kids and for him personally, too.
Yep.
You know, he wanted this as well. He wasn't the head coach in 2017, the last time Westbury Christian won a state championship.
Yeah,
he wants one for himself, just like all these kids do. This is a hard moment for these kids. Tears streaming down the face of every one of these kids.
Very emotional, it was.
And he's handling it with
grace.
Yes.
Lots of grace.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said earlier, sometimes that first district or the first state championship is for the coach as much as the team. And he wanted it bad. He coached hard. His team just wasn't able to do it today.
This team, though, I can say with a great deal of confidence, because the talent of Christopher Felix, because of the talent of JVR Francis, there is loads of talent on this Westbury Christian roster. Joseph Cormier, only a sophomore. Malachi Bowles, only a sophomore. Braxton Berry, a young man who didn't play today because he hurt his ankle in practice before the semifinals. Didn't play at all this weekend. Only a junior. They'll be back on this floor playing for a championship a year from now. I'd put money on it today.
And I think we saw Coach Guidry mouth to Craig Berry as he put the medal on him that, hey, you'll be back here. And, boy, what a great seed to plant in that young man's mind that I'll work hard, we'll get back here, and we'll change things.
Meanwhile, you have to celebrate what Legacy Christian did today. They were clearly the underdog coming into this basketball game. There was no question of that. Their head coach knew it. Everybody on their roster knew it. But they didn't buy into that concept. They played, I think you could probably say pretty fairly, over their heads for 32 full minutes.
I agree.
And put on a show offensively, defensively. That was spectacular from Legacy Christian, and they earned a second straight state championship.
I don't know how many different adjectives we could come up with, but all of them would apply because you're right. Some people would think they wouldn't even belong in the gym with Westbury, but they showed that they did belong, and grit and toughness, they gutted it out. It was awesome.
Meanwhile, we still got 2 to go here at West High School. And this next game, there are some similarities between this game and the one we just saw. The number 1 team in the state, John Paul II, certainly the favorite in this game, but playing the defending state champions in Antonian. I think the talent level difference is much smaller.
Oh, absolutely.
I think these two teams are really, really closely paralleled, and this one should be an absolute blast. They've set the clock for 23 minutes, so we'll be a little bit late getting this one underway, probably about 6:30 by the time they jump it up. But we'll be here on TAPS TV for the 6A state championship game in just a little bit, and we hope to see you guys then. Thanks so much for joining us.
Mike. I want to start
Let's
now.
just, we'll just stay on the air.
All right.
We'll be back in a little bit, folks.
All right.